Section I. The Convocation of the Assembly. Thus have I heard. Upon a time Buddha sojourned in Anathapindika's park by Shravasti with a great company of bhikshus, even 1,250. One day, at the time for breaking fast, the world-honored one enrobed, and carrying his bowl made his way into the great city of Shravasti to beg for his food. In the midst of the city he begged from door to door according to rule. This done, he returned to his retreat and took his meal. When he had finished, he put away his robe and begging bowl, washed his feet, arranged his seat, and sat down. Section the second. Subhuti makes a request. Now in the midst of the assembly was the venerable Subhuti. Forthwith he arose, uncovered his right shoulder, knelt upon his right knee, and, respectfully raising his hands with palms joined, addressed Buddha thus, world-honored one. If good men and good women seek the consummation of incomparable enlightenment, by what criteria should they abide, and how should they control their thoughts? Buddha said, very good, Subhuti. Just as you say, the Tathagata is ever mindful of all the bodhisattvas, protecting and instructing them well. Now listen and take my words to heart. I will declare to you by what criteria good men and good women seeking the consummation of incomparable enlightenment should abide, and how they should control their thoughts. Said Subhuti, pray, do, world-honored one. With joyful anticipation we long to hear. Section the third. The real teaching of the Great Way. Buddha said, Subhuti, all the bodhisattva heroes should discipline their thoughts as follows. All living creatures of whatever class born from eggs, from worms, from moisture, or by transformation, whether with form or without form, whether in a state of thinking or exempt from thought necessity, or wholly beyond all thought realms, all these are caused by me to attain unbounded liberation nirvana. Yet when vast, uncountable, immeasurable numbers of beings have thus been liberated, verily no being has been liberated. Why is this, Subhuti? It is because no bodhisattva who is a real bodhisattva cherishes the idea of an ego entity, a personality, a being, or a separated individuality. Section the fourth. Even the most beneficent practices are relative. Furthermore, Subhuti, in the practice of charity a bodhisattva should be detached. That is to say, he should practice charity without regard to appearances, without regard to sound, odor, touch, flavor, or any quality. Subhuti, thus should the bodhisattva practice charity without attachment. Wherefore, in such a case his merit is incalculable. Subhuti, what do you think? Can you measure all the space extending eastward? No, world-honored one, I cannot. Then can you, Subhuti, measure all the space extending southward, westward, northward, or in any other direction, including nadir and zenith? No, world-honored one, I cannot. Well, Subhuti, equally incalculable is the merit of the bodhisattva who practices charity without any attachment to appearances. Subhuti, bodhisattvas should persevere one-pointedly in this instruction. Section B. Understanding the ultimate principle of reality. Subhuti, what do you think? Is the Tathagata to be recognized by some material characteristic? No, world-honored one, the Tathagata cannot be recognized by any material characteristic. Wherefore? Because the Tathagata has said that material characteristics are not, in fact, material characteristics. Buddha said, Subhuti, wheresoever are material characteristics there is delusion, but whoso perceives that all characteristics are in fact no characteristics perceives the Tathagata. Section the 6th. Rare is true faith. Subhuti said to Buddha, World-honored one, will there always be men who will truly believe after coming to hear these teachings? Buddha answered, Subhuti, do not utter such words. At the end of the last 500-year period following the passing of the Tathagata, there will be self-controlled men, rooted in merit, coming to hear these teachings, who will be inspired with belief. But you should realize that such men have not strengthened their root of merit under just one Buddha, or two Buddhas, or three, or four, or five Buddhas, but under countless Buddhas, and their merit is of every kind. Such men, coming to hear these teachings, will have an immediate rising of pure faith. Subhuti and the Tathagata will recognize them. Yes, he will clearly perceive all these of pure heart, and the magnitude of their moral excellences. Wherefore? It is because such men will not fall back to cherishing the idea of an ego entity, a personality, a being, or a separated individuality. They will neither fall back to cherishing the idea of things as having intrinsic qualities, nor even of things as devoid of intrinsic qualities. Wherefore? Because if such men allowed their minds to grasp and hold on to anything, they would be cherishing the idea of an ego entity, a personality, a being, or a separated individuality, and if they grasped and held on to the notion of things as having intrinsic qualities, they would be cherishing the idea of an ego entity, a personality, a being, or a separated individuality. Likewise, if they grasped and held on to the notion of things as devoid of intrinsic qualities, they would be cherishing the idea of an ego entity, a personality, a being, or a separated individuality. So you should not be attached to things as being possessed of or devoid of intrinsic qualities. This is the reason why the Tathagata always teaches this saying, my teaching of the good law is to be likened unto a raft. Does a man who has safely crossed a flood upon a raft continue his journey carrying that raft upon his head? The Buddha teaching must be relinquished. How much more so misteaching? Section the 7th. Great ones, perfect beyond learning, utter no words of teaching. Subhuti, what do you think? Has the Tathagata attained the consummation of incomparable enlightenment? Has the Tathagata a teaching to enunciate? Subhuti answered, as I understand Buddha's meaning, there is no formulation of truth called consummation of incomparable enlightenment. Moreover, the Tathagata has no formulated teaching to enunciate. Wherefore? Because the Tathagata has said that truth is uncontainable and inexpressible. It neither is nor is it not. Thus it is that this unformulated principle is the foundation of the different systems of all the sages. Section the 8th. The fruits of meritorious action. Subhuti, what do you think? If anyone filled 3,000 galaxies of worlds with the 7 treasures and gave all away in gifts of alms, would he gain great merit? Subhuti said, great indeed, world-honored one. Wherefore? Because merit partakes of the character of no merit, the Tathagata characterized the merit as great. Then Buddha said, on the other hand, If anyone received and retained even only 4 lines of this discourse, and taught and explained them to others, his merit would be the greater. Wherefore? Because, Subhuti, from this discourse issue forth all the Buddhas and the consummation of incomparable enlightenment teachings of all the Buddhas. Subhuti, what is called the religion given by Buddha, is not, in fact, Buddha religion. Section the 9th.